Hello and welcome to the 909 podcast. It is the best of the month in music episode. Now, before we begin, and before I introduce you who's with me this month, I want to shout out to Andrea Cleary, who normally does the podcast and best of the month and some of the other podcasts we do every month. Andrea is taking a break for summer, like we were saying last week we had a listening party for Good Kid, Mad City, and she told us that week, she was like, you know, I'm taking the summer off, I'm working on a PhD, so I'm not going to do the listening parties. And then we talked about it a bit more, and she was like, I'm actually really busy, so I'm not going to do the podcast for the summer. So she's going to come back in September refreshed. So with that in mind, best of luck to Andrea for that PhD. When I put that up on Instagram, a few people thought I was doing a PhD somehow. No, definitely not me. I wouldn't have the patience or the time. But I am joined on this month's Best of the Month podcast by Bekah Molony. Hi, Bekah.
Ooh, hello, and big shout out to Andrea.
She'll be back. But
Good.
I'm looking forward to hearing what your choices are for the music you've been listening to in the last month, what you've been up to musically. I know you run Mhaol Cultivation,
Yep.
B07 artist. You're manager for De La Vida Mai and Negro Impacto. We're back in the kind of summer buzz. There's stuff happening. There's outdoor stuff happening. Tell me a bit about what have you been up to this month in terms of music.
Yeah, I actually had a really busy May, and this year specifically 2025, I said that I would be outside more and do more things because, like you mentioned, I wear a lot of hats and I have many other jobs in addition to what you just mentioned there. And I kind of felt like I was slipping behind the radar a bit, and you know, some people knew about the work that I did but had no idea I was behind it and things like that. So I was like, I'm going to start showing up more. I'm going to start saying yes to more gigs, more invites, that kind of thing. And I took advantage of that in May. I actually went to 3 fantastic gigs like in the past 2 weeks. I was at Forbidden Fruit over the weekend. I was there on the Saturday last week. The week before that, I was at Tyler, the Creator, which was unbelievable.
I want to hear about the Tyler gig for sure, because I wasn't able to go.
It was absolutely incredible, and I'm not like a stan for Tyler, the Creator. Like, there's a lot of his music that I love, and I definitely think that Chromacopia was his best piece of work yet. It was definitely the one that I could latch onto the most.
Okay.
But the most important thing that I was excited for was seeing his stage presence, his set design, the world building that he does, that he's so famous for, and it did not disappoint. It actually exceeded the huge expectations that I had. It was so clever, it was so engaging, and I was seated and I managed to get like the first row on the balcony as well, which was a surprise when I got there. I didn't even realise. And
they're good seats.
Yeah, it was just fab. It was just so good. Really impressive stuff. Even if you didn't like know every single tune, he brought you in and made you feel like, you know, the whole show was just for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously become such a, you know, an author in many ways in the last few years, but like, I think it's been a while since he's played here. Is that right? Like, I mean,
yeah, I think so, actually.
I saw him at Primavera once previously, but again,
that was my first time seeing him.
Right, yeah.
And it was very good. He had 2 stages, obviously the main stage where it normally is in the 3 arena, but then he had like a bridge that came down, which went onto a secondary stage, which wasn't just like a little circle the way most people would have. It was a full-blown living room set where he had lots of different cameras, couches, and he would go through a collection of vinyl records where the camera was showing like what he was picking, and he was kind of either judging it on how loud people screamed, or everyone was just screaming loudly anyway, and then would just get so buzzed knowing that he was about to go into like a different era of music or go back to a different album. And I was just so proud of the youth of today for going that hard for alternative hip hop. And I was saying this on my radio show 2 days later. I actually cried. I cried like 4 or 5 times because I was surrounded by people who were like predominantly under 20 who were going berserk for music like that. And I kind of feel like hip hop is dying out a bit in Ireland. So I was so emotional knowing that we have all these young people who are interested in like black music, and not only black music, but that is not commercial. It's not in the charts. Like, you know what I mean? It's exciting.
Yeah, it's a good reminder when you go see something like that every now and again. You're like, wow, there are people out there who are like really into this, and like huge numbers as well.
Yeah,
like,
2 sold out 3 arena shows. And they were going absolutely mental for him, like mental. And also for little Yachty who opened, like couldn't hear yourself think type screaming. It was really great.
Yeah, that's great. I pity now. I regret not seeing him, but
big regrets there.
Some other look, listen, you can't do you can't do them all.
Can't do everything. Yeah.
I have a lot of FOMO, and I have to just accept that, and that's fine.
It's gonna be okay.
But so you were also at Barry Can't Swim. You said at the Lovely Days Festival, was it?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I saw Barry Can't Swim at All Together Now last year. And it was one of the highlights of the weekend because it was just so fabulous. So me and the same group of friends were like, we have to go. And it was great. Like, it was such a nice little buzz. Like, it really felt like the kind of summer is here moment to, have it's that kickstart. Yeah, and you know what? The weather was a bit crap, but like everybody came out in the raincoats, and then it actually stayed dry for the gig itself. And, and you can just like smell that festival buzz in the air in a very good way, I mean. Not the bad way. There was just something in the air, and like, everyone was like walking into town after, and like, yeah, it was a really, really good buzz. And Barry, he's just so talented. He had his live drummer there. I'm a sucker for live instruments where you wouldn't normally expect them. And yeah, he didn't disappoint. It was very, very good.
Yeah, he's played here a lot. I mean, he's playing here. Was he announced for the Picnic as well, I think, this year?
Yeah, I think he's a Picnic. Yeah. Obviously, as well, had him at the Sober Sunrise rave at the Gravity Bar last spring as well. And I think that he did he play All Together Now before that as well?
He did previously. We
love Barry here. We love him.
We do.
And his unexpected Scottish accent whenever he's talking. I haven't a clue what he's saying.
Is his name actually Barry? Because I think I saw it.
No, it's not.
Right? It's not.
I'm pretty
Barry.
sure it's Josh, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Josh.
People do that. Okay.
Great. Yeah.
I was at the Lovely Days Festival on the Sunday for Fontaines and Lankum.
Yeah. Good.
So yeah, great. Really good. Really good. I'm like, the more I see the Fontaines, the more I'm like impressed. Yeah, especially by Green chatting. Like, his voice is just getting better and better and better. I mean, obviously the band are like, battle hardy. They're ready now. They've been touring around the world for years now. But
yeah, literally,
they're still like, I was never like full. I was not always fully on board. I'm not fully on board as most fans are, So, and so
me neither. I wouldn't like have listened to them day to day, if you will. There's a lot of music out there that I love to see live, but like, it wouldn't be on my kind of, monthly or quarterly playlists. I listen to in my own time. But when I did see them live the first time at EP a few years ago, I was like, okay, I get the hype. Like, they are very, very good. It's just maybe
because I was at the Tree Arena show last year and I thought that was great. But then this particularly, I was just like, they just sound way better. Everything about this is just better than even the Three Arena gig. They just nail it. And they're like one of the last like traditional rock bands that we like, not just Ireland has, but like the world has, because they're that. And also, they're like commendable stances on Palestine as well. And constantly shouting that out can't be understated. Same with Lankum as well, who Brady Pete was like, who's going? Kneecap were there actually on the night, and there was lots of rumors going around that they were going to get up and
I heard their truck was there or something.
Yeah, but it's more like Rady was like, who's coming to London on June 18th for the court case. Now, last week I did do a chat with Una Mullally all about the Kneecap stuff and everything, so you can go and listen to that. There's an hour of that about festivals and private equity and all this kind of stuff that's kind of very present at the moment in music. But other than that, you're at Forbidden Fruit as well. I was there Sunday only. I was DJing a wedding on the Saturday.
I was at a wedding on the Sunday, and so I wasn't there. But yeah.
It's a great.
Saturday is good.
It's a real wedding weekend, that one, anyway.
It is, the banker.
June bank holiday.
Yeah, I was there on Saturday, and to be honest, you might be able to relate, but I do often feel like the kind of oldest person in the room sometimes when I'm at Forbidden Fruit.
I mean, I do, certainly. You're a bit younger than me, but like,
I know that, but even still, like the type of energy at Forbidden Fruit, you won't catch me like gagging to buy my ticket and get down in the ways I would be for other festivals. But the lineup was really good. I'm actually kind of terrible because I go to festivals a lot and like go to gigs and stuff for a living, I generally just go and support my friends or catch an international act that I haven't seen yet or don't think I'll see again. So the only person I went to was my own artists / pals, and I got a little bit of Kilimanjaro, but I was driving, so I drove home after that.
But you got to see the site and the staging and all that. They had the kind of 360.
Yes, I did. That was cool. I went to catch a bit of Brick Nasty on the main stage. Wasn't as many people as I thought there would be for them, but then again, I do feel like many festivals, Forbidden Fruit is very much for young people who want to see DJs and dance music and stuff. So
yeah,
but it was still fantastic to see them getting their main stage kudos.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was cool. And then Cela Vida Mai was amazing, not just out of bias, but you never know who's going to show up for your set at a festival. And she really did pull in a big crowd. So I was very proud of her for that. And I had Negro and Pacto Moving Still also playing on the Sunday. I didn't see them, but they all said it was great. So yeah, I'm always really happy when, the general population of, I would say, regulars who predominantly attend Forbidden Fruit, showing up for live music like that is really good.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about feeling old, and certainly I saw a lot of people going in on, because I live near Imma, so I saw a lot of people going in on the Saturday before I left for the wedding. And I was like, oh yeah, they're very young. And then the flip side happened, because I went to see Underworld, and like Underworld are always good live and they're always amazing. And I saw them all together now the last 2 times we were there. And my partner hadn't been out for a while since we had the kid to an outdoor event. So we were like, right, she was buzzing for it. So we went, it was great. But slowly over the course of the day, a lot of older men started showing up. Basically, the kind of lads who have, they've got their jackets with them, but they've tied it around their waist, So there was more of those.
AKA, where did you put your jacket, Niall?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I didn't bring a jacket because
fair.
I picked the right clothing. That's what I did. But it was funny because I was just like, all of a sudden there was a lot of much older men there, especially. And I was
Underworld.
like, yeah. So it was funny, and I did see like there was a guy who had kind of maybe a little bit worse for wear, who was an older guy, and it was a real generational thing, because I could see he was lying down on the ground a bit, like about 20 minutes in, and he actually looked quite peaceful, but all the younger kids around him were like, are you okay? Do you want some water?
Yeah.
And all his pals were like, he's grand, leave him. He's grand. He's grand. But they ended up getting the medic and stuff as well. I think they were all laughing at him. And like,
God love us. Yeah, you don't want to be seen as that now.
He might have just been a bit overwhelmed for a minute,
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, Underworld were great.
But yeah, I haven't seen them. I'm also going to be abroad for All Together Now, which I'm absolutely raging at. It's my favourite festival, so I won't get to see them then either. But they're one of those acts. I thought I'd never see Nelly Furtado again. I thought that she'd never grace another lineup in her life. Thought she'd take her $1 million and run, but she's back again, so you never know. Yeah. Yeah.
You can always wheel out Man Eater 1 or 2 more times, I'm sure.
Promiscuous.
She was great last time.
Banger.
Yeah. No, she was
loads
brilliant.
Of bangers.
Yeah. Did you saw her then at Forbidden Fruit last time?
Oh, I absolutely did.
Yeah. That was a great
I
set.
got myself onto that viewing platform and I was like, I'm going to be here for every single moment of this. And I was. It was unbelievable.
Nice.
She was in great nick, I'll tell you.
Great. All right. Well, let's pick some music to play for each other, and let the listeners know what we've been listening to for the last while. Obviously, I'll start. First track is the return of Dave Balfe, For Those I Love. Exciting to hear this return because, I guess when you think about what potential is for Those I Love, it's his first song in 4 years. It signals that there is more music on the way. Here's a bit of the track first before I talk about it.
Stay here in Ireland, cause you've been here all your life. What's another night inside this building site? Despite the price, the only ones you've ever loved all live within your neighbourhood. How could you leave without putting up a fight? Stay here in Ireland and you learn to count your blessings. There's no future found around a life of planned obsolescence. The job of your dreams has been replaced by machines, but it's hard to complain once you look beyond the shores. Stay here in Ireland, in a town that's torn and hollow. You're torn apart by love, a place like Deirdre of the Sorrows. Borrowed lines and times won't outshine the horror of tomorrow. So you'll stay another day and you'll take all that you can swallow.
Alright, that is For Those I Love of the Sorrows. So I'm really like, it was one of those things I was kind of wondering, and I talked to Dave a couple of times just seeing him, and I was like, you know, he said he had new music, and I was like, well, what is it going to be like? Because, you know, to follow up a deeply personal album like he did about the passing of his friend, like, it's not only having to kind of relive that trauma in a way, or the grief of it all repeatedly and on stage, it's like, that is tough. But then to figure out when that becomes synonymous with your art and the thing that you create, and then like how do you follow it up? And I think Of the Sorrows kind of gives you an example or a clue about what might come next. You know, he's talking about the economic reality of living in Dublin and the kind of push and pull of how young people want to stay but feel like they have to leave. And there's a very like almost theatrical like outro to the song where it's like, I'll never leave, I have to leave.
Yeah,
like this kind of
part.
push and pull, and it's really, I mean, I find his music very touching, and I think he's doing something. It's still kind of similar to what he did before, but there's that kind of, there's a bit of the Irish kind of trad with the fiddle from Carl Caulfield playing it, Paul Kenny on initial production as well. So there's slightly different textures and elements to this as well. It's very much like speaking to a wider issue as opposed to a personal one. And I think the fact that he's bringing in, you know, Deirdre of the Sorrows, talking about Irish mythology, and then also with the video as well, which is, you know, another thing worth mentioning because he is very much a visual artist as well. I don't know if you saw the making of the video. So he shot that. He started shooting that on Christmas Day last year, I think, and then like spent hundreds of hours just like building these 3D models of famous Dublin landmarks and putting shrouds over them and stuff like that. So just he really
he's such
is
a genius.
Yeah, he's an artist in more ways than one. He's a visual artist. He's a really multi-hyphenate kind of artist as well. So, and just really exciting because,
and he's so humble as well. Like he's just, he has like so many talents and so much like creativity and so much to say and so much to give. Yet like he's never at the front, like looking for his flowers. He just, you know, stands back and enjoys it with his community. And I just think that he's just one of the nicest guys ever.
It's really just, it's great to have him back, and it's great to hear that there's more music on the way. And and you were talking about crying earlier, and I heard the song earlier, or when I first heard it, I was like, it touched me. Like and that's what I, you know, it's kind of what you associate with him, but to do it on a level where you're like talking about a more universal theme and to touch people in that way, and also to create some really engaging art out of something that people have been singing about for the last 4 or 5 years. You know, the city, where it's going,
you nailed it.
Being pushed out of your home in a way you feel like you have to leave, all that kind of stuff. So For Those I Love of the Sorrows. So great to have them back. yeah. So, Becca, what have you got for us?
Definitely my number one that I've been rinsing and very excited about is Cops and Robbers by Sammy, Virji and Skepta. So I kind of feel like Sammy, Virji, anything that he's doing at the moment is touching to gold. I feel like he's on that come up very much so after the Interplanetary Criminal breakthrough and that whole like Fred Again scene, etc. Skepta, similarly, like, you know, wherever he does, it's just, I feel like it's just going to be good. And I'm a massive fan of both like garage and rap elements with electronic music, so them coming together was just like very exciting stuff. And I've been absolutely just blasting it at any chance I can get.
So let's have a listen to
Let's play it.
Cops and Robbers, Sammy, Virji and Skepta.
DJ play one for the ladies, said go on and the crowd go crazy. I'm on a wave, who's trying to get wavy? A little bad boy from Tottenham, dots I was shotting, playing cops and robbers. Now whips I'm copping them, champagne popping them, hands in the air like who's got a problem? She wanna link up, no stress, she wanna have fun, so she phoning skips, so she need a weekend that she won't forget. But I'm trying to wake up with no regrets. Walk in the room, style and elegance, looking for a place I can smoke my medicine. Took a back GMs and I came with 10 of them, don't insult my intelligence. one for the bad man. DJ play one for the ladies. Said go on and the crowd go crazy.
Come on, the strings with the garage beat is like one of my favorite things in the world, and Allbarone do that really well. I don't know if you know that Allbarone turned the page with the streets.
Oh, listen, that was my summer
that
anthem last year for me.
That brings me to my knees like every single time.
Yeah.
So like you know the emotion thing, like I get emotional listening to that song. So then this is just, and then that little like, you know, that high pitched like sounds like a female vocal from like the noughties. I feel like bringing that back.
So that is that's the Brandy Wannabe Down sample, which is, I played you, I sent you a link to that a Blawan remix from 14 years ago. Jesus.
Like, that's what I mean. I'm like, guys, this is genius. Like, every element is genius, and I'm just here for it. And like, not very often does a song come out that I literally will put the one rewind function on Spotify. But with this one, I was like, I'm just not going to stop listening to this until I get bored of it.
Class.
So yeah, love it.
Okay, very good. Nice to hear Skepta back as well.
Yes.
And collaborating as well. You're right.
I like when he links up.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, he hasn't had anything of his own really, any album for a while, has he?
He released something there
the odd single
back ago, and he had a terrible bar about having onion rings in his bank account, and I was like, Skepta, come on, you can do better than that. Come on. So when he released this, I was like, he's back.
Okay. Right. I'm going to pick an album. My album of the month, essentially, from May is Billy Woods and Golliwog. Now, Billy Woods is a Washington-based DC, New York artist who has been in the last, for a number of years now, but certainly in my purview, he's been releasing solo albums like Ethiops, really struck with me, Maps with Kenny Segal. He is one of those singularly brilliant rap artists who is a deep lyricist, and I feel like Golliwog is his apex. It's a difficult listen, it's a dark listen, it's a dank listen, it's got themes of horror, but not like I wrote about this last week, and I was saying it's not like the cliched like boogeyman of horror films. It's like the everyday corrosive, horrible part of modern living. You know, there's like lyrics here about like watching a video of a man like, getting killed by a drone, you know, so like it's stuff like that, and it's also like these really weird and moving kind of musical passages, almost jazzy broken beats kind of stuff as well. But he really paints pictures. He paints these really cinematic pictures of this kind of dystopian present that part of the worst part of life almost, in a way. And while that might sound miserable, it's not really, because it's just, he's so good at it. He's so good at painting these things. So speaking of misery, I'm going to play the first track from it is called Misery with Kenny Segal. This is Billy Woods, Golliwog.
Please believe she got a lover and a husband. She got a summons for sex in public and laugh, telling the story. She laughed from her stomach. I love it, covering her mouth, dainty like she in a painting daydream. Those nails raking, full moon. She came to me already wet with sex. Next day I slept head on the desk.
You have been listening to a preview of the Niler 9 podcast. To hear this episode in full, sign up to patreon.com/Niler9.